everybody, and welcome to episode 380 of Pixels and Ink, the official podcast of CG Magazine, where we take a critical eye to gaming, comics, tech, and media. I'm your host today, Chris DeHoog, and I'm joined by our editor-in-chief, Brendan Fry.
Hello there.
Dayna Eileen.
Hello.
And making his debut on our new live format, Lane Martin.
Aha, it's me.
Good to have you here, pretty boy Lane.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's been a while, actually. I think it's been like a year since you were on last when you were talking about the medium.
Yeah, the last time I was on, we were talking about people getting salty and a very anger-inducing review of the medium.
Which, that game that everyone's talked about so much ever since the medium.
Yeah, they really loved that game so much that they kept talking about it continuously.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Actually, that was before I even got here. And do you know how many times I've been offered for us to review the medium on different systems? Like so often. I'm like, I heard bad things when that happened here, so we're gonna not.
So are you saying you've been offered to review the medium on different mediums? Sorry.
See what you did there? No, I like it. I'm down for it.
Well, yeah, speaking of salts, our first story today is actually about Activision Blizzard.
Yay!
It's weird, but that works, right?
Imagine how we keep coming back around to these guys. And surprise, surprise, it's not good news. So this week, Raven Software's QA union was basically shut down by Activision Blizzard. The requests for unionization were denied. Which is disappointing because, but not altogether surprising because Phil Spencer kind of said that they don't really need to work with unions, and just the existing climate and the climate they're going into both are very anti-union. So,
but it is also a problem, the fact that a union kind of does act like a poison pill for a company. If you're like a big takeover going on and you see that's unionized, that means you can do less. You can't really come in and fire people. So it really does make it a lot harder to deal with that. So if they want to make sure this merger goes through, I hate to say it, but even if they Bobby Kotick in his infinite kindness wanted to have those unions, it'd be very hard because it might make it so the purchase doesn't go through properly.
I want people to say infinite kindness about me. That's a fun sentence.
that's what he's known for, right? Infinite kindness.
Oh yeah, he's the nicest guy ever.
Yeah, that and owning baseball teams.
Does he own baseball teams?
He did for a minute, I think. I think there was a movie about it.
Well, that's real weird.
I like
Well, he's a weird guy.
Yeah.
Is that Moneyball?
I think Moneyball might actually be about him.
Could be Sandlot, I suppose.
Yeah, Moneyball.
Is it really?
I think it looks like it, yes.
I liked Moneyball. Oh.
It's now about
I
Bobby
actually really like sports movies. Like I know. See the Brendan's face. What?
So if they build it, you'll come to see it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Actually, that sounds perfectly like if you have that much kind of Bobby Kotick money, what else are you going to do besides buy like a sports
I want to
team?
buy a group of people. That's what we're saying here. Just so you know.
Go play a game for me. The whole part of it being the merger, that definitely is a fly in the ointment. But I have a feeling this probably would have happened even if that acquisition wasn't going on.
Oh, let's be clear here. Even if there was no acquisition, I'm sure Raven would be like, nah, you don't need a union. Don't worry about that.
Fine.
Certainly not in quality assurance, yeah.
No, it's fine. Your jobs are safe. You don't need to worry about that. In fact, if you have a union, your jobs are worse. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, no one benefits from a union.
No.
What?
Why would you like collective bargaining when Bobby Kotick's on your side?
But we're part
Chris,
of the family.
I'm starting to think that you don't like job creators, Chris.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got to bounce it back at me now. Yeah, that's the classic union busting tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris. Why didn't you give me a job?
I'm sorry, my studio isn't hiring right now because it doesn't exist.
Come hang out with my kids if you want.
Yeah, there's some job creation. Get a babysitter. So disappointing, but that's not many good news stories coming out of Activision Blizzard these days. Although, actually, jumping over to another topic, they also announced, Blizzard specifically announced this week they're hiring for a new survival game set in a whole new universe with no release window. So they're in the early stages of some kind of survival game, and they are already hiring for it. I found the timing of this kind of interesting, actually, because with everything with the acquisition going live last week, and they're like, hey, yeah, we're doing new stuff. Please don't hate that.
So they're making something other than the same 4 games they've been making for the past decade.
Yeah, I think they said the last new game they made was in 2016.
That was Overwatch.
Yeah.
Which I also haven't touched. So, whoops.
Its time has passed.
Yeah, it really seems like they're just like letting that one die.
Well, I mean, technically, are they doing Overwatch 2?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe?
But,
that's a maybe?
Well, the fact is, like, the head of that team has already left Blizzard. And apparently it's just kind of no one knows what's new about the game. It's just like, yeah, it's new. It's fine.
It's 4-on-4 instead of 5-on-5.
I think that's what you need to aim for when you're a company that massive. Just, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do and you profit.
Yeah,
right?
Basically.
I mean, to be fair, arguably the most lucrative division of that entire company is King.
That's the weirdest part about all this. That King, their weird mobile division that they bought a while ago, is the most profitable.
Well, because it's like Candy Crush, and I think Puzzle and Dragons is also.
No,
King.
that's Gung Ho, I believe.
Is that Gung Ho?
I'm going to look this up.
It would fit in, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, King is a bunch of very mediocre mobile games that are basically gambling machines that make a lot of money.
Farm Hero Saga, Candy Crush. That they really don't have all that much.
I liked Candy Crush for a while. According to my Facebook memories.
Bubble Witch.
Bubble Witch. Gold.
That's a thing.
Gold.
Pet Rescue Saga, Pyramid Solitaire, Blossom Blast, and then like Crash Bandicoot on the Run.
Ooh.
Oh.
Running games are still a thing, huh?
Why is Miscast Joe just yelling hell at us? Hello, hell.
Hell.
I hate you.
Candy Crush Saga. They still got that boomer market cornered, right? Like those kinds of in-app purchases.
Did they make Farmville? Who made Farmville?
Zynga.
Yeah, Farmville was Zynga.
And that's now Take-Two.
Yeah.
For $12 billion.
I remember it was a lot.
These numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger, and none of it comes our way. And it's not fair.
I want you all to know I almost spilled my coffee all over our setup, and I would have gotten a lot of trouble.
Don't do that. That's not productive. That's not how caffeine gets in the body. I was gonna say that like these odd little cash grab games are oddly popular, and like one of the most popular, or sorry, one of the most lucrative Final Fantasy games for Square Enix is A New Empire, which was a Final Fantasy 15 spinoff that I've never heard anyone actually talk about playing.
Really?
But it's like a massive moneymaker. Yeah, like it makes them far more money than their actual Final Fantasy like content games. Like,
well, you look at the same with Sony, where you have that. What is that weird series they do? They do a lot of gacha games, and Aniplex is known for the gacha games. That's where like Sony earns billions of dollars in those weird games. Like, what is that series? I need to look this up. Because this is great radio right here.
Welcome to the show where Brendan Googles all the things. That's what we're here for.
It's a segment.
I like it.
I need to find out what they do.
I've been trying to make something like quick there, and it wasn't happening.
Ratchet and Clank mobile games?
No, it's a gotcha game. It's one with no. Wow, this is exciting for everyone.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. Did it have a gotcha?
I'm a sucker for a gotcha. I will admit that freely.
Wait. Why don't I understand what we're talking about?
What a gotcha game is?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've never heard that term.
So like Overwatch wasn't really gotcha, but gotcha games are usually games that are free to play. And you will unlock like chests that you get a bunch of random crap out of. And none of it's good, and you can pay money for more chests or more currency to buy more chests.
And it's basically, the concept is to constantly try, like it was the Fate series, the Fate Granddaughter. That game makes billions of dollars.
They would indeed get me.
So what the point of that game is, you get like a general set of heroes, and as you keep unlocking different sections of the game. You might get a chance. You keep getting like basically roulette or slot machine chance to get the next great hero. So usually most people will get the low end guy, but sometimes you get the high end version of the thing, and then they keep basically like, well, you keep getting these free spins, but if you paid $5, you get 100
free spins.
Yeah, there you go.
So stressed out.
You get 100
You
shots
need
at
to
this
spin
point.
more. Oh, I shook the whole table. Sorry.
That worked. It was a good effect,
calm down.
actually.
But but a lot of these big companies, that's where their biggest profits are. All these little games that you think would make no money, but they make billions of dollars.
Well, and then there's like Genshin Impact is arguably a big big game. That's
that is a
gotcha game.
Huge.
It's one of the
gotcha
biggest
game.
ones right now, actually. Yeah, which is ironic because it also has some of the most gameplay for a gacha too.
Right. Apparently it's a legit game. People really enjoy it.
I was very surprised when I checked it out last summer that it was actually pretty legit. Like it was, I had it dismissed as just a gacha cash grab and a rip off of Breath of the Wild, which, to be fair, it kind of is.
Still remains true. Yeah.
But there's a lot of game in there, surprisingly, and not like a bad game either. Like there's substance behind that. Surprisingly,
it's pretty solid.
This is all a very long tangent from the Blizzard survival game, but just to kind of gauge. Blizzard's making a new survival game at some point. Where are we at for excitement on this one? Is anyone kind of like?
I mean, I feel that Blizzard's a little late to the table. Like you have Valheim, you have Rust, you have like the original like DayZ. Fortnite kind of started as a survival game, so a lot of these games have kind of come and gone at this point.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like it's been a long time since Don't Starve and all that good stuff. And also, I'm pretty much over Blizzard at this point.
It was the studio I used to love when I was younger. Like I loved the Diablo games. I loved StarCraft. I loved Warcraft. But everything they've done recently just kind of feels gross, and the studio culture makes it worse.
Yeah. WoW consumed my soul for a very long time. Like I was that don't talk to me while I'm healing kind of person. So to see something new coming, like in my heart, it's a little exciting, but at the same time, I'm like, I grew out of that. Like, I moved on, and now you guys kind of suck. So, do I really want to get back into that and support that?
I do want to kind of bring up something about this thing going on, whereas there's a lot of back and forth from Microsoft about it, when and if they get the Activision that, oh no, we're going to keep Call of Duty multi-platform. Well, we'll keep it multi-platform for the next one due to these requirements. Then we'll see. And they keep kind of walking back how not anti-competitive it will be. They're like, no, it's going to be for every system, for all the time. Maybe the next one. Well, then we judge. We'll make it. We'll kind of figure it out from there.
Yeah, there's a very big unspoken asterisk next to all these claims. Like, it'll stay exclusive for this contract.
It kind of feels like they're, hey, remember all the bad stuff that happened? Well, look, somebody else bought us. Look over here, there's a game. It's fine. It's shiny things.
Yeah, I mean, like the news was like instantly overshadowed for me too, because like a year ago, this would have been kind of like, oh, cool, Blizzard's doing something new. I haven't really dug their stuff recently, but I'll check this out. Now it's like with all the controversy and all these things coming to light, and now the acquisition as well. It's just I don't really care about this. Like I could get into a survival game, but
honestly, even if it wasn't just bad news that we've been hearing about Blizzard, has there been a week that we haven't been like, and Activision Blizzard, like I've said enough. Like I'm done. Even if it was all good, like I've heard the name too much. Like we're saturated now. I'm done.
Yeah, that's to shift gears to a different big company. Steam has reconfirmed the launch date for the Steam Deck, which will be launching on February 25th, which is adding to a very stacked release day with Elden Ring coming out the same day.
Yeah, you can play Elden Ring on your Steam Deck. There you go.
There's the ultimate tie-in. Lane, you had one pre-ordered, didn't you?
No.
Someone had it pre-ordered. I thought that was you.
I believe Clement does.
I believe that.
Okay. I totally botched my throw over there. I apologize.
Boo.
Good effort. It was a good effort.
It was a safe guess too.
Lane is way more supportive than me. I'm just like, no, fired.
Boo, Chris,
Um,
boo.
Boo.
Yeah, so how are we feeling about this one? Are we excited about our handheld Switch PC?
So I'm not really a huge handheld person. Like the Nintendo Switch, I very rarely use in my hands, and if I do, it's only because someone is using one of the several TVs in my living room. But what I saw today, I'm actually looking at it now. It's on Twitter. It's just an image, and it's all the past handhelds. So we've got the PS Vita and all that stuff. And this is going to be the Game Boy killer. This is going to be the DS killer. This is going to be the 3DS killer. This is going to be the Switch killer. And I don't like what's going to kill the Switch. They're not the same games. Like they're different. I don't know what to tell you.
I think there's a few problems I have with this. I love the fact that they are bringing something that does run on Linux, and they're kind of pushing the Linux community to kind of say, hey, all the games are going to work here. Even if it's not fully supported, we'll make it work. But there's a lot of caveats to that. And even then, will it work perfectly? Or are you going to get kind of a gimped experience if you buy the Steam Deck and whatever it costs and try to play all the newest games? Because it is still a handheld. It's not a PC. It is PC hardware in a kind of a handheld shape. But also, like anything that involves other storefronts. So it's not on Steam. It probably won't work here. So Fortnite not going to be able to play on here easily. Also, you have the fact that any kind of DRM or anti-cheat software probably won't work out of the box on this right on day one.
That's
so you're going to have a lot. So people that buy it, like I want to play the new Battlefield, probably not going to get to. I want to play Call of Duty. You're not going to be able to do that either. You want to play Genshin Impact, there's another game that you probably won't be able to play. So there's a lot of games you're just not going to be able to play on this thing. And it's also the fact that PC games, there's a lot of games that work. But you're going to have one of the few games that you need that mouse to kind of click on something, and it's going to be just annoying to get to that one aspect of the system. And combine that with the fact that yes, it's powerful hardware, but it's not top-end PC specs. So you're going to have the fact that, yeah, it's going to look great when it's on that screen, but your big PC in the other room is probably going to play that game 100 times better.
See, but then you have someone like me. I have a good PC. I can play all these games 100 times better. I sit at a desk all day. When I get home and sit at my desk, I'm unhappy. And I have a great chair, let me tell you. So maybe it would get me playing more PC games. I mean, I have my MMOs, but there was a game that we were talking about earlier this week, and we're looking at what it's for. I'm like, do I want to cover that? I'm like, nah, it's for the PC. I don't want to sit at the PC this week. So that would be helpful for things like that, especially smaller games. I think it was a kid's game too. I'm like, well, my 6-year-old that this game is marketed to is not sitting at my PC to play it. No. So I think it's going to have its uses, and I'm interested.
And I think you're right. And I think that is the audience that does this make sense. But it's also a question of how easy is Valve going to make it. So let's say you run into a problem where a game doesn't run properly. Are you going to have to open a terminal on the side to get it all working properly, like everything else in Linux? Or has Valve made it as simple as possible? Like you have to go to a setting and get a new controller working or whatever. How easy will it be to get to work? And right now, it's a lot of unknowns.
I guess we'll find out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and there is kind of an elephant in the room here with...
Hi, Lane.
No, hi, how's it going? With Steam or Valve in particular, they kind of suck at making hardware.
Yeah, they're not great. Like the last, the Steam box.
The controller things. Yeah, there was the Steam box. There were the controllers. There was the Steam Link. There was that NVIDIA thing before the Steam Link. And
then they had the big Steam boxes that were basically little PCs with Valve OS, and that was horrible.
Yeah, those are terrible. And they had a custom, I think it was in Linux operating system in that as well. So, like, I don't know if I have the faith in Valve as a whole to make a decent piece of hardware at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I tried the Steam Link, and it was nice enough, but I quickly traded it back in because I didn't just wasn't gonna wasn't performing the way I wanted it to, and
Oh,
That
yeah,
and I keep just calling it a Stream Deck. So
Yeah.
there's that.
That also is.
My biggest problem is a lot of Valve stuff feels half finished. Like the Steam
I
Link.
mess with them now.
Yeah, it's
Steam Link,
all
yeah.
the Steam Link. That thing felt hacky when you got into the menu. It felt like, oh, this is kind of placeholder assets part of it.
Mhm.
And then it never got fixed. It always had this kind of like, yeah, we didn't really bother finishing the menu, so it's just kind of there.
Kind of seemed like one of those things people make in Raspberry Pi. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
But from Valve, the biggest like PC company in software.
It really does feel like someone hacked it in the back room. Like, yeah, that's probably good. Sell it $50. It's fine.
Well, when you hear about how like Valve's corporate culture is, not to talk about
Yeah.
corporate culture, but it makes a lot of sense with the whole like free, do your own thing, jump on
Yeah.
whatever product you like, which is like, it's a great mentality. I love
Mhm.
that mentality, but it does lead to things like a lot of half-ass products.
Well, it's because you have like someone like they felt that product wasn't all that exciting, so they had like 3 people in the back room working on it, and no one else wanted to join them. So like, well, like, we don't have a UX guy, so I guess I'm just figuring it out.
Yeah, pretty much.
A completely lateral company in concept sounds great.
I've never been able to get in touch with them. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Well, it's
if there
whoever
are any
happens to
problems.
answer their email that day.
Yeah. So if there
Who
are
wants to
any
do that?
troubles, good luck. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
That's on a
been like
volunteer basis then.
they've been like a black box since like Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
they're impossible to get anything out of unless like Gabe Newell's doing a talk on Reddit or something.
Yeah.
And then he descends from the mountaintop in his toga, and
Well, I mean, to be fair, he has a lot of knives. That's something.
you gotta have a lot of knives. A. Wilson in the chat actually raises a good point. The biggest thing that stopped me from buying one is the price. I'd faster buy a high-end gaming laptop.
Yeah,
This thing's not cheap. It's a 64 gigabyte model that's $399 US, so a lot more for us Canucks.
But
Up
remember-
to
I didn't realize it was that
512
much money.
gigabytes for $649. Like,
First, I'm going to throw it out there: the 64 gigabyte model is completely useless in PC gaming. You wouldn't be able to download a single game.
yeah, pretty much.
Wait, that's
Not even
the
Fortnite.
hard drive space.
That's the hard drive space.
Oh yeah, that's pointless.
Yeah.
Like
You-
maybe
you,
if
like,
it had
hook
an
it up to an
itch.io thing.
external, like I don't know if that's a dumb question.
You probably you can all I/O works on it. It's just the fact you'd have to have an external hard drive just kind of like dangling from the bottom of it.
Well, I feel you might put it down, but no, dangle. That's bad.
No, duct tape that
Yeah.
to the back.
But I
Just
also
like
don't-
a battery pack, like those
Yeah.
rumble packs for the N64.
But I also don't know if Valve has actually said how it would like let you use multiple hard drives. So I don't know how that would work.
I mean, you could use an NVMe drive and get like plenty, maximize that space, but that's probably expensive as hell, and then it'll pump it up another $100.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At least.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel that why Valve knows what games are sized. Releasing something that small to start is pointless.
Well, and A. Wilson again says that it defeats the purpose. Just buy a laptop at that
Yeah.
point, because not only do you have to buy. Sorry, how much did you say the device was? 6 something, Chris, for a decent one?
$649.
And then you want to
US
add a
for the
hard drive
512,
on top of that.
And
How
then,
much
yeah,
is a
easily.
decent sized hard drive
I mean, you could if you wanted a decent like solid state, probably like $150.
for good enough size?
Probably
Yeah, it'd be
five-
like a terabyte.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, even still, then okay, go get yourself.
Yeah. At that
literally
point, you're
anything else.
at that point you're scraping a gaming laptop.
But I think
Yeah.
everybody's just excited that PC games are going to be handheld, so they're
Yeah.
like, take my money.
Just put The
guess.
Witcher 3 on there. That's about all you can fit on it. And you'll
If
have
you
The
put
Witcher
Witcher 3 would probably be about 40 gigs. So-
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah,
I
there
just
are a lot of
installed
people
it
out
the
there
other
who
day.
there you go.
I've seen a lot of comments of people like I'm just wanting to play it on the like in bed or something. Like there is a niche for that, I suppose, but I still don't see.
But I
that
just
game
throw it up
Is
there.
it a $700 niche though? Like, you know what I'll do? I'll go play like Candy Crush on my phone. I'm
You know,
good.
There you go.
I'm going to throw it out there. I think Microsoft has already kind of made this obsolete with their xCloud, because if you already subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, you can jump on your phone, you can jump on any portable device, and you can load up your xCloud and play it. You can buy one of those little handheld controllers, play xCloud, and you're fine.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
true.
definitely. And actually, I want to come back to your point about people calling it the Switch killer and all this stuff. But
Mhm.
Nintendo's not sweating this at all. I bet. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Nintendo has its niche, and it's not God of War. They're good.
Yeah,
I
no,
think.
it's not putting HD graphics into everything. It's into any playing space. No, it's
Because what does that mean? Does that mean that the PlayStation was the Xbox killer and vice versa? No, I think they're still doing okay.
Yeah,
I think
they're doing
fine.
just fine.
They are
They're
all
hanging
in my
on.
house. I think they're fine. We just
there's this
didn't
mentality
choose.
to make it like, oh, this thing's handheld. It must be competing with the Switch. The Switch is just doing its own thing. It doesn't need to worry about any of
It's
you.
its own place. It's
The
happy.
vast blue ocean.
It's
Like it's a
just-
train and it has a cow catcher and it's just
Yeah.
gonna knock you off the rack if you're gonna
Yeah.
get in the way.
They're good. They're happy.
Let's stop imposing competition where there is none.
Mhm.
um,
But they look the same.
yeah,
Mm.
they're both handheld. Actually,
Mhm.
one thing I've been using the Hori Switch Split Pad Pro.
Yeah.
It's a really awkward name, and
That
it
was a name.
feels like I'm playing a Steam Deck. It's so wide, like
Oh, weird.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's it makes the Switch real wide, but yeah,
Oh, that thing.
yeah, it's
I
they're
don't
they're
play my
basically
Switch
bigger
in
Joy-Cons.
handheld.
I was gonna like
Actually,
break it
I've played
down.
it here. I've been at Brendan's house and brought my Switch over because I'm spoiled and have 2 TVs at home. I don't. Like, nope,
I
everybody
actually-
out.
I exclusively play my Switch in a handhold, but I'm a crazy person.
I don't want to
Yeah.
look down. I'm so lazy.
I'm 50-50. Yeah, really.
Like, my neck hurts. This is crap. No.
We've got the one big TV. Half the time my partner's using it, so I'll just sit next to her and play some Shin Megami Tensei or something
See,
like
that's
that.
what we did. We did the 2 big TVs side by side because we didn't want to choose anymore.
See, my
That's-
problem is I've tried the Switch and I was like, I'm going to play Diablo on the Switch. Speak of Activision Blizzard, and I physically, the controller just it isn't comfortable for me. I find my hands feel like claws at the end of it.
I'm
That's
fine
fair.
with that. What makes me crazy is that the buttons on the Switch are the exact opposite of the buttons on the Xbox.
Yes,
Like the bottom 2.
Drives me
whatever
crazy.
system
Yeah.
you play on. And anytime I switch back and forth, I was like, I can play Fortnite on any system and then I won't be bothering anybody. And no, I can't because I'm not capable of that kind of change.
that's fair.
It's been a real pain with me dabbling in the Xbox now. Like it's like every time I always press the wrong button because it's all mixed up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Oh, you just got to know where the location of the button you want to press is. Don't know what it is. X is in a different position in every
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
trying to take screenshots in Halo, and it's like, no, that's a video. No, okay,
cool. It's fine. It's fine.
it's fine. Anyways, speaking of fine, I guess I don't know. That was a weird one.
It's
that was,
fine.
that was a stretch.
They can't all be gems, folks. Just,
Yeah.
just go along the ride. So Guillermo del Toro has released a new
Oh.
trailer. Well, he didn't release it personally. Here's my new trailer.
He did it personally. He was the one up
To me, he
last
called
minute.
me, sent it over.
On his
He was
personal
sending from the
YouTube
mountaintop
channel.
in his toga, as
We
he
have
and Dave
interviewed
Noble
him,
do.
have we not?
We interviewed Dialto.
Anyways, yeah, he released
Jacob.
a trailer came out for his new Pinocchio adaptation.
Nightmare Fuel.
Real Del Toro, that's for sure. This isn't the Disney version.
Yeah.
I
What-
mean-
I wonder what is it rated? Do we know?
I think it's R, but I don't know for sure. It's a
Really?
Netflix thing, so
Hold on.
I think it's
I'm going to find
TVMA.
it. Give me a second.
Is it a Netflix?
It's a
Del
Netflix thing.
Toro's-
Yeah.
Oh man, the man who made Pan's Labyrinth, a movie about World War I and weird crap.
I mean,
No.
and racism, I think.
Yeah,
And
it's
racist.
a lot of things.
It's a weird movie. Or The Devil's Backbone.
It's still it
Devil's
says
Backbone's
it's
great.
listed under family, so I don't.
Is it
think-
really?
Yeah, it's animation drama family, a darker version of the classic children's fairy tale, but it doesn't have a rating, but
Weird,
it is
okay.
listed under family.
Okay.
I just wanted to go check out the cast. I didn't do that ahead of time, but it's pretty stacked.
Ewan
Wonder-
McGregor.
Oh yeah,
Kids,
Ron
Ian McGregor.
Perlman, come on, Tilda Swinton,
Ron Perlman will do anything.
Christopher
Toro does.
Waltz,
And he's
Uh,
good
Kate
in everything
Blanchett.
he does.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor.
I mean, Ron Perlman he puts a lot of effort into everything he does. No
Right.
matter how ridiculous the roles.
Do you guys know who David Bradley is? I didn't know his name until just this moment, but he's in Harry Potter and he's in
Oh,
Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah.
Who is he in Harry Potter?
He's
The
Fitch,
janitor guy.
Filch.
Yeah,
He's
Oh,
Filch.
okay.
the really really old looking guy.
Oh, so he's playing Geppetto then. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. I dig that.
Tilda Swinton's just a weird lady, and I think she's great at it.
And
I
it
mean-
doesn't say what she's playing.
She is the fairy with. She's a fairy of some variety.
Mhm.
She's a fairy.
It's just the one fairy, isn't it?
I mean, how many fairies do you need?
All of them? more.
At first, the idea of a Del Toro doing Pinocchio was kind of weird to me, but then I started thinking about all the weird crap that's in the Pinocchio story.
I mean,
the
original
whale.
Pinocchio
Oh, the
story,
whale scene messed me up as a kid. It's gonna mess me up through him.
doesn't it involve like cannibalism? No.
I think the
Something-
original story is pretty messed up.
There's some weird stuff with like Paradise Island with some cannibalism stuff with the kids turning into donkeys, but I don't think that has been in the story for a while.
But it was in the original story, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Something to
and the
do with
original
that,
story
yeah.
was really weird, and like his conscience dies immediately. Like
Yeah.
Jiminy Cricket was just a wholesale invention by Disney.
Yeah, I mean, like he's like, nah, let's see how debaucherous I
Like, are
can
we talking
get.
about the Brothers Grimm version?
Ye-
Because like the Brothers Grimm version of everything is a hot mess.
Well, there is
Yeah.
that too, yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, but like this is a movie, like the Disney version, I should say, is one that we don't show my daughter. Like we'll play most Disney stuff for her, but like this one we kind of figured was too much.
I mean, I guess this is Song of the South, the ones you kind of leave
Yeah.
off the list.
Yeah,
I'm
Um,
actually not
but
showing.
I only know of it through like the storybook version she has that sometimes people will read, and every time I read it, I'm like, I'm very justified in not showing this to her because like the whole Pleasure Island thing.
There's a
well,
lot
I
of hedonism going on in that story.
Yeah,
It gets weird.
Hey, guess I'll go back.
Yeah, it's a weird morality tale that just goes off the rails.
Yeah, I got really into. I know it's not quite the same, but the TV show Grimm for a while,
Yeah.
and I used to love all the little bits and pieces that came from all the fairy tales and the creatures and whatnot. But I really don't want to go back to the Brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back that far.
so you're probably gonna steer clear of this one then, hey?
I might, unless it gets thrown at me. We'll see.
Well,
We
we have to. Oh, go ahead.
No, you please go ahead.
Fight over it.
Oh.
Fight.
We have to find out what Del Toro's best friend Hideo Kojima thinks about this.
Oh god, it's so weird.
Probably 3 monster cans up. Like
No, more importantly, it's just the
Monster,
weird bromance that goes on. It's just so weird.
They're so broy. I'm not sure who's a fan of who, but they both like each other's work a lot.
That makes me happy because everyone else in the industry hates each other. No.
well, there is that. Yeah.
We need a little joy in our lives, people.
Well, you know what
Stop
brings me
using
joy
What?
is more Star Wars.
Hey, I'm gonna let you run with this one. Goodbye.
And yeah, so we're getting a lot more. Well, surprise, surprise, we're getting more Star Wars content. But specifically, we're getting a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, which is fantastic news, as well as a new first-person shooter project and a third one as well.
I will play a stormtrooper because I can't hit shit.
So that's made for you.
Yeah.
Yes, Fallen Order was a fantastic game that came out in 2019, and I'm really glad to see them actually doing a sequel to it because they left a lot of plot threads dangling that could be picked up. So glad to see them running with that. But also we have some confirmation about confirmation. Yeah, we can call it confirmation about the cast for the Ahsoka series. So Mary Elizabeth Winstead from Birds of Prey and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
And Cloverfield Lane.
And
Yeah.
Thanks.
see, I always forget about half the stuff she's done because when Cloverfield came out, she looked like totally different from Scott Pilgrim, so I kind of lost the connection.
Everybody in Scott Pilgrim threw me.
I like. Was it Chris Evans was in that as a skateboarder?
Chris Evans, yeah.
Yeah. Chris
Brie
Evans.
Larson.
Oh yeah, she was
Man, I just threw you all off.
the
I'm sorry.
girl. What was her name?
Oh, okay. I know. who
Envy
this
Adams,
is.
the Scott's
Envy.
ex.
Mhm.
Yeah, Brandon Ruth. What's his name? Jason Schwartzman.
Mhm.
Yeah, great movie. Anyways,
Distraction.
Yeah, so Ahsoka has added her to the cast as well as Hayden Christensen returning as Anakin Skywalker again. Not just
Yay.
Obi-Wan,
He looks
but
weird
in this
now.
as well.
He looks weird now.
Yeah.
He
looks
aged
happy.
in weird ways.
What does he look like now? Look, I'm googling the whole time.
He looks older. That's all really, and
Yeah,
a little more happy.
same, bro.
A little balding.
Hey.
So does that mean the Ahsoka series is going to be pre-original trilogy?
It would have to be, or like around Clone Wars time.
Right.
Yeah, well, the speculation is that because there's also been an actress named for, or
He just looks like he's
supposedly
done a lot
named.
of drugs. Sorry.
there's,
He does.
I mean,
He looks strung
Fair.
out.
Yeah,
he
maybe.
does, I guess.
Yeah, so Natasha Liu Bordizzo, apologies if I butchered your name there, has been rumored to be
She's
playing
definitely
Sabine
listening
Wren
right now.
from, maybe, you never know.
Never gonna get this out, sorry.
We'll be playing Sabine Wren from Star Wars Rebels. And in that series, Ahsoka and Sabine, we're going to go look off. We're going to go off looking for the main character of that show who got lost in deep space at the end of it. But by that token, it probably takes place after the original trilogy, kind of around Mando's timeline.
I'm gonna need a map, a time map, please.
I could draw you one.
I know
it's fine.
you could.
But I'm assuming that Hayden will be showing up in like flashbacks or something.
I mean, just who knows? Force powers are powerful; they can do anything they want.
Look, I'm looking at this cast and I see a big problem. None of these people are like 6 feet tall and blue with bright red eyes.
This is an issue.
This is an issue for some people.
Could be, yeah. It will be interesting to see who they get to play Thrawn in live action, because that's a.
Oh, Thrawn is such a weird thing.
But it's so good. He's so good.
Is he still part of the universe? Disney's throwing out so much stuff. I can never tell.
Timothy Zahn has started releasing like 2 or 3 new Thrawn books that are similar to the old ones.
It's like up to like 4 or 5 now, I think. Actually,
now the question:
they're up there.
How does Thrawn fit into the universe after the new Emperor and everything else going on in the new movies? Because wouldn't that be tandem to what's going on with that thing? He was
he pops up in Star Wars Rebels, and he's like a villain for half the series. And then at the end of it, he and Ezra, like the lead character of the show, essentially gets blasted off into like deep space.
Okay,
to put it simply. So they're conveniently off the map for the end of the Empire. So
because I thought most of the Thrawn books, like way back when it was like the first time he was introduced and stuff, that took place after the fall of the Empire, and he was kind of the new controller of the Empire.
Yeah, so like in the old timeline, he showed up and was like basically bringing the Empire back to prominence. For that trilogy of books. Yeah.
So I don't know how that. Sorry, continue, Lane.
I've only read the first of the new series, the new Thrawn books, and it picks up during the Empire's at their power, and then like picks up stuff like Darth Vader shows up, and the Emperor is a big force. But it seems like it's giving him more backstory that we didn't get during the first Thrawn series.
So they're kind of retconning it, making it so it's more of just in tandem with the Emperor and kind of like working with the Emperor rather than the new lead of the Empire.
So like with him, you kind of see, at least in the first book, you kind of see like what the Empire looks like for people who are like not necessarily at the very top,
right?
But really hate alien people and want to put them down because they're pretty strongly coded as Nazis.
No, they're definitely Nazis, and the new movies, they are straight up Nazis. Like the new order, straight up Nazis.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is fine.
This is fine. You can put them in there.
Well, they have a giant red flag with the logo that's now a gear. I don't know what the Empire logo is.
They watched that Pink Floyd music video a bunch of times and were like, "That's the new order.
Yeah,
that's the first order.
We're done."
Good.
Okay.
So, does Thrawn take place after the First Order, or I just want to know how this fits?
There's so many follow-up questions. Hey, man.
No, he's got to die.
People here to talk about it, so I mean, this is
he has to die before the First Order. Then
I imagine. I don't know how they're going to finish off his story, but
how long do weird blue aliens live? I don't know.
Well, I just googled him and got a picture of Benedict Cumberbatch. Did he? Oh, why he won't play him? Oh, never mind. Well, that was misleading.
That sounds like bad journalism.
I got clickbaited.
But so like Mandalorian takes place like 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and I'm thinking Ahsoka's probably going to be around the same time frame.
That makes sense.
So
with maybe flashbacks and stuff like that.
Hayden has to be playing has to be Anakin in like Force Visions or his Force Ghost or something, I suppose.
Oh, could be his Force Ghost.
Could be a workaround there. But speaking of the Mandalorian, actually part of the Production Weekly listing that said all these things was the inclination that Mandalorian would be wrapping production on season 3 at the end of March.
Oh, cool.
So hopefully that means we'll be seeing it around its usual debut time in December, November. So especially after this week's episode of the Book of Boba Fett, which was essentially a Mandalorian episode.
You're behind. Every week I get a message from my friend that just says Boba. I'm sorry, I watched the first episode and I don't even remember what happened.
Honestly, I actually just rewatched the first 4 episodes with my wife because I told her at the start, like, it's kind of slow. You don't need to watch this like right now. Like, we can take some time, let a few episodes build up, and then we'll like plow through them. So we finally did that last weekend, and like it's much better when you sit down and watch them all together.
I'm really good at that. So
well, there you go. Yeah,
Here, I don't know.
I'm a pretty big proponent of like the weekly release schedule for shows, like, but this is one where I wish they dumped it all together, like, because there's just the way it's been paced is just weird and slow.
Not your favorite so far?
The first 4 episodes really do work best together. I do think the most recent episode is strong on its own.
That explains why I got the capital boba this time.
There you go.
So yeah, there you go. Ironically, that's the week you get the capitals. Is the week he's not even on the show. But I digress.
I will say one thing about Boba Fett. I was having a hard time trying to figure it out when I was watching. I was like, okay, so like Mandalorian is very clearly like a Western. Like, it is very clearly a neo-Western that is cribbing from Clint Eastwood movies as well as samurai movies. There's one episode of Mandalorian that is just the 7 Samurai, and it's fantastic. And when I was watching Book of Boba Fett, I'm like, wait, so is this like a martial arts movie? And I got to the end, I was like, it's Robert Rodriguez. This is an El Mariachi thing.
Okay,
I'm caught up. We know what's happening.
But it's also trying to be the Godfather a little bit.
I mean, it's a south of the border Western movie. Like, if Antonio Banderas shows up with a guitar case and shoots a bunch of people, I'll believe it.
I could see that.
No, but it has to be he's in Max Rebo's band or something instead. So he's got the Okay,
so there's a thing there. So I guess I have to ask you, Chris, because this is really nerdy.
Uh-oh.
In not the most recent episode, but last week's episode of Boba Fett, we got confirmed that's Max Rebo, but there's no Droopy McCool, there's no Cy Snoodles, and there's a Biff standing right next to him. So is that Figrin Dan, or did Max Rebo just grab one of the modal nodes? Have they squashed the beef? Or is it back on twice?
I think it's got to be Figrin Dan, right? Like, but they showed up in the first episode. Brandon, your face is hilarious during this whole segment.
Oh, it's been
no, but when they showed up in like the first episode, I figured, okay, they mashed the 2 bands together. That is like the perfect solution, and they're playing the Cantina music, like a variation of the Cantina music in the first episode. So, yeah,
Chris, we should pitch our cookbook.
There we go. We were talking that we need to do like a pop-up cocktail bar or something at some point when the world isn't going to hell.
Yeah, for Cantina. Nobody? Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, nobody? Okay.
Well, we were finding all these like themed cookbooks. I'm like, why isn't there like a Star Wars Cantina like cocktail book?
I'm sure there is.
I'm pretty sure there's been a pop-up in LA or something at one point at least, if not multiple points. But
well, everything's in LA, to be fair.
Yeah, that's where the pop-up cool gastro pub stuff happens.
There's a weird one in Toronto that I went to once. Not for Star Wars though, so that's no fun.
Makes sense.
Total digression to the digression here, but we had that weird Garfield's restaurant here in my town.
Garfield Eats?
Garfield Eats, yeah, that popped up here. I thought that was real strange.
Did you get an orange pizza?
I did not. I was tempted to just for the sheer horror of it. Like the existential horror that thing exists is.
I'm glad it's gone now. I mean, I hate to see people lose their jobs, but also it looked bad.
So what the hell were you thinking?
It looked real bad.
Yeah, that.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
So it was a weird pop-up restaurant thing, all based around Garfield.
I got that far and then I ran.
And everything's orange. They had carrot juice on the menu as a drink you could get. And then
so I'm a mom and I definitely do like themed meals where like St. Patrick's Day, everything we eat is green.
But imagine everything in the restaurant is orange.
Yeah, that's a choice.
And the tomato sauce is orange.
With lots of groaning jokes about Mondays and stuff, I'm sure.
And it's a weird, like the restaurant in Toronto had it had no people like dealing with it. You got to just do like iPads, everything's checked out, and then it just kind of your order just kind of appears on the counter.
There you go.
This just sounds so foreign. This is all from the before times, and makes me kind of sad.
Weird. I mean, they closed down after the owner or the creator had a lot of rants about how COVID's not a real thing.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah,
so many stories end that way these days. I didn't realize it had closed down. Actually, I thought it was still going.
No, and then he's like, yeah, the landlord's like kicking me out, and I don't know why. And then the landlord's like,
I feel we've taken a weird tangent, guys.
yeah, we definitely
This
have.
is-
A little bit.
The owner's like, then the landlord's like, no, I've been giving you like relief and trying to make it work for you, and you just kind of like left the place in a sty and then just kind of vacated one day. So yeah, it was a very weird thing. It was a journey.
And now you know.
Reality is unraveling, surely. But yeah, the last bit of news was actually just hot off the presses before a couple hours ago. More news about the Elder Scrolls Online's new expansion, I believe it is, the Legacy of the Bretons.
Yes.
Dayna, ESO is kind of your jam, right?
It is. Yes, that is accurate in bits and pieces. So they teased this a little bit earlier this month, and it was all exciting because new content. Why not? They were telling us that they were going to take us somewhere that we've never been before. So it's not just new people and new story in the same place. So we're going to be going to the High Isle, which is where the Bretons are from. So it's all castles and medieval and fancy clothes and snooty people, I assume. So that's pretty exciting. It's going to be just like their other expansions. If you're a new player to the game, you can just jump in and go right to it. You don't have to go anywhere else. You can start wherever you want in that game, which is kind of cool. You can start at any expansion and it doesn't impact you. They've got a few new things coming to the game as well. One of them is, I guess, a card game. I'm not the best one to explain this because that is where you lose me in a video game. Like, I'm out. But yeah, there will be a new game that you can get through quests and you can collect cards, I think. So, I don't know. Read up on that online.
Well, like Elder Scrolls Legends, but in Elder Scrolls Online?
I don't know. I don't even know how to say it.
Triple Triad?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
That's weird.
They're bringing 2 new companions. For anybody that read my last ESO review, they brought in companions, which was really awesome from the past Elder Scrolls games. I was super pumped about it. They always bring you one good, one bad, so that you can, be pure evil or not. The good one always sucks. They do, but this time we've got a Khajiit and what's the other one? A Breton. And
that makes sense.
They're both Ember and Isabel are their names. The Khajiit looks bad. She and I were going to do some sketchy shit together.
But does she have wares?
I don't know. This one doesn't know.
I have coin.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be coming out. It drops differently between console and PC, which is frustrating for me because I'm on both platforms. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing it here because I usually cover it. And I'm like, I guess I'm playing on PC, but we all know I want to be on my couch. Maybe I'll play it on the Steam Deck. Yeah. You can pre-purchase it, all that jazz, get a whole bunch of stuff. It will be coming out. I think all of it comes out, or the High Isle part comes out June 6th on PC, June 21st if you're on consoles. There will be Ascending Tide that's coming out in March, though. So it comes out in pieces throughout the year. Like, they take a whole year to do an expansion because why not? Well, what else am I doing? And that was my story for the day.
So do we think this might be a prelude to Elder Scrolls 6 actually getting some announcements going on?
Oh God, I hope so.
Who knows?
I'm pumped.
It's been 5 ever since they showed that teaser at E3.
Yeah, that was 2018, wasn't it?
2018, I think. Yeah.
That was before the dark times.
It actually might have been 2017 because it was the Andrew WK concert, and they did it just after the Rage.
Oh God!
2.
So many things happening at one time there.
See, when you say Andrew WK, it makes it sound like it's the 2005 E3.
Yeah.
No, he did the party song, whatever the hell that song's called.
All his songs are party songs.
Yeah, that's fair. He did that. Then they did a trailer for Rage. Then they had the first announcement for Elder Scrolls, and it's like here's a sky.
I'm an Elder
Lawn.
Scrolls girl through and through. Like I when it comes out, be prepared for me to not talk to you anymore. I'm gone. You might get a text back, but probably not, to be perfectly honest. But ESO never hooked me the same way those games do. And I do like MMOs, but for some reason with Elder Scrolls, I don't dig the whole groups and dungeons and that stuff. It's just not the same as it is in a different MMO. So I'm very, very excited for some pure single player content, and I want it.
That sounds like liking chocolate and peanut butter, but not Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, which, by the way, I peel the chocolate off of my peanut butter cups and just eat the peanut butter.
See, I was going to have your back for a minute, and then you go and say weird stuff like that.
Unless it's the peanut butter trees. There are peanut butter Christmas trees at Christmas time. They are a perfect ratio of peanut butter to chocolate. And Brendan found out for me that the peanut butter pumpkins also are a proper ratio. That's all I got.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Lane is not impressed.
He loves me. He'll be fine.
There's a major philosophical debate going on in his head. You can tell.
Try it.
No, I find it kind of interesting that they have never gone to the High Bretons' homeland before. I'm very distant to the ESO or the Elder Scrolls in general. Like I played Skyrim, and that's about it. So that seemed like the place they would have started from back in the day. But
what I'm weirded out about though is like their last expansion was pretty much just bringing back Oblivion.
Yep.
And now most of what I know about Bretons came from Skyrim. So I feel like we're just we're going backwards. I've been around long enough that we're
didn't they already add Skyrim to ESO?
I was gonna say, wasn't the expansion before that just adding Skyrim?
Yeah,
redoing Skyrim?
Wasn't the Bretons in the first game? Like, wasn't that the first Elder Scrolls is where they kind of had the Breton home?
First Elder Scrolls. That's 3.
Yeah.
First Elder Scrolls is Arena, which I think was Cyrodiil.
Okay, then 2 was
that was Daggerfall, and that was like bugged all to high heaven.
Yeah.
Well, it randomly generated the map of a dungeon when you entered it, and it may or may not have an exit.
Yeah, and there's certain ones you can just never win.
Right. And then it was Morrowind, and then Oblivion, and Skyrim, and ESO.
And yes, a lot of those things are expansions in the game. It's not the same. Like when you say they added Skyrim, it's not like it's like pieces. It's familiarity. The last expansion that I can't remember the name of, which I reviewed, so that's cool. They added like all your Oblivion gates, and they added your companions and stuff like that. So it was very familiar and cool for new players, and like a nice little I feel at home for old players. But now I'm just like, okay, can we have something different? So this is exciting. I'm glad to see something new.
Big kudos for the new player friendly side too. Being able to jump in like at any expansion sounds fantastic.
And even to start a new character, like for me, if I want to play a different class and I really hate one section, I don't have to go through it if I don't want to.
Nice.
And I dig that because the grind is real in MMOs.
All right, well that's pretty much wraps up the news segment. So now we'll move into our reviews and impressions and our what you're playing segment. Dayna, do you want to talk about the chair?
I do want to talk about the chair. I think I'm allowed, so I'm gonna. There's things I'm not allowed, but I'm allowed to talk about this chair. It's called the Mavix M9. It's honestly, it kind of looks like a chair at a dentist office to me sometimes, but it's marketed as a gaming chair. I thought that was a little bit weird when I first unboxed it, but it's really comfortable, surprisingly, especially when you check out how it's built. Like Brendan and I, who is looking down a lot, we are completely different, like comically different sizes. I'm 5'1", he's 6'2", and this chair will not hit either of us in lumbar support. On its highest setting, it's way below where it should be on me, and I'm wee. My feet dangle in every gaming chair, so that's pretty normal for me. I literally have a stool under my desk because I'm a small child. But the chair at its lowest setting fits Brendan perfectly. And when we put it at its highest setting, he gets to feel like a toddler, and it makes
this is accurate.
Yeah. So like it seems like the measurements are kind of wonky, but it's still surprisingly comfortable. The lumbar support does not hit me where it should, but it feels good. So that's cool. But they just shipped me something and I haven't gotten to play with it yet. It's called the Elemax, and it's cooling, heat, and massage technology. And it attaches to like the lumbar portion of the chair. And it is sitting in the office and I have not seen it yet. And I'm very, very excited. But I will say this chair is not cheap. Its regular price is $1,099 without the massage and heating and all that good stuff.
Yikes.
So That's where it all comes down to it. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I can have the gaming chair, but I cannot have any systems to game on. Or I could have 2 systems and no chair. So,
or really good, like a single video card.
Yeah, half of one nowadays. So it's I'm going to spend a little more time with it. I'm going to say that I would probably never purchase it for myself. It's a bit ridiculous.
It's a luxury item.
It is. You've got to be within your means for it. I'm curious to see how it stands up over time, because there's parts of it that feel really cheap, but then there's parts of it that feel so good. We were gliding across the office in the chair.
I told you.
We didn't race, but it was still fun.
Yeah, really good casters in that chair.
Yeah, it's got like the best wheels I've ever seen on a gaming chair. Like, that's an interesting place to put your quality, but sure, it's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm digging it, and we'll see what happens tomorrow when I don't get any work done because I'm too busy being heated and massaged.
Take a day to pamper yourself in your gaming chair.
I will.
Yeah, no, that's not cheap, especially like, gaming chairs are not cheap by any means. And that's just a bar above. So
like, I usually whine about like the Secret Lab chairs can push $600-700. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Then I got this one and went, why? And then I sat down and was like, oh, but, and that's pretty much what my review is gonna say. But,
and not to mention too, like I've seen the picture that you shared with me of the chair, and like it's not like any gaming chair.
It does not look like a child
material there. Like,
yeah,
I'm also reviewing a gaming chair from Ewan, and it looks like a gamer chair. Toe to tip, this is a gaming chair, but yours just looks like more like an office chair, like a general. Like maybe one in the spa, like a spa's office or something. Like
I want to know what it is that brings a chair from like just a normal office chair to a gaming chair, because like this one, it lays down, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I can lay right back into it. That always terrifies me. I don't know who plays games like that. I have a mild heart attack every time without fail.
I think it's more who the marketing is. I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
There's that.
And how black and like snazzy it is compared to like.
This one does have a few cool colors. It's I've got the black and glacier, so it's like a teal and black, and then they have black and white and all white. But like it very much gives me like a sci-fi movie like vibe.
It could be on the set of the Enterprise or something. Like
that. Yeah. Like it very much gives me that vibe, but it's slick looking, and I mean, why not?
Plus, if it has RGBs, I think that's also a indication of a gaming chair.
Yes.
By definition.
I believe the Ewan desk that we have, you have the chair, but Joe has the desk that has RGBs, RPGs, GBs. Anybody? I'm never going to get it right. RGBs. Can we please call it that from now on? Because I cannot get this straight. Yeah.
That's A. Wilson has a recommendation for you in the chat. Just buy a pillow, sit on the floor, and buy 2 consoles instead.
See, I like this plan. You're not wrong. I mean, but I'm old. My back's gonna hurt. We discussed this.
Your back's gonna hurt anyway.
That's true.
That is a factor. Lane, have you been playing anything recently?
So I finally. I'm sad because I beat Final Fantasy XIV's most recent expansion. I have feelings about it. I won't spoil them. But
the feelings, or
they're very secret feelings.
There's some really wild stuff that happens in that. Did you get to the end, Chris?
Very near. I was playing on an alt account for the purpose of the review.
Right.
So I got very close to the end. I was warned by a friend where to stop before I totally ruined the end of Shadowbringers and everything else for myself. But yeah, I've seen some stuff of the end of it too. So
you think you know where it's gonna go, and then some stuff happens, and you're like, you're the most extra person on the planet. But I enjoyed that a lot. I'm still dipping back into it. Other than that, I'm revisiting some older games that I've been wanting to revisit. There's a game I reviewed, I think, like the first year I worked here, so about 4 or 5 years ago, called The Lion Song.
Oh yeah,
that game holds up. That game's dope.
That's still good. Still a good game.
Still good. Play it some more. Dreamfall chapters, still good. They're never going to finish that, but
never.
Dreamfall is good. It's never going to happen. They stopped making games, I think.
Who
So
made
I've
that?
been playing. What's up?
Who was that did that?
So Chapters was a Kickstarter thing.
Okay.
I was looking them up the other day because the company is still around. They're just not doing Dreamfall anymore. I think they're out in Norway. I can't remember their name off the top of my head.
The Longest Journey. No, that's the series.
Right. And it is the same people that did Longest Journey originally. Okay. I think they splintered off.
It's Ragnar Turnquest that used to be working at Funcom, and now he's
Yes.
kind of his own studio.
Yes.
I've learned that it's Brendan Googling. That's why we're only looking at his forehead. He does have a face.
It's better than the clucky keyboard. So
it would have taken me so long to remember Ragnar's name, so it's all good. But I've been playing a bunch of old stuff. Devil Daggers too, if you want to.
Oh, remember that game? Did you review that one too?
No, I didn't review Devil Daggers.
Okay.
And Dreamfall was technically before I worked there. I did review Owlboy, another game I've been playing.
Yeah, you love that one. You loved that game.
That game's sweet. That game's adorable. Everyone should play Owlboy.
You got like a 10.
I gave it a 9 something. I've only actually given out 1 10, and that was for the
medium.
No, that was not my lowest score. I think my lowest score was for Extinction. That game sucks.
Oh,
yeah, that was a Dave Lang game too.
Yeah.
No, the only game I've ever given a 10 to was the Sexy Brutale.
Oh yeah, you love that game.
That game was dope.
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, the Sexy Brutale. So it's a game where like it's kind of in this really mod, nice like asymmetric view, and you're in this hotel, and people keep dying, and then when someone dies, you kind of get rewinded back to the beginning of the area you're at.
This game looks trippy. I'm looking at the pictures of it.
It's very trippy, and it's really good. I know a guy who gave it a 10 out of 10. Me. But
what
basically,
is this game?
You got to figure out how to. It's basically a really weird adventure game where you're figuring out how to keep people from dying one way or another, and then it gets weirder than that. I played it through in one sitting, and it was really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Those are like Brendan's favorite kind of games, like a one-day game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I played that through in one sitting. I think I played through Ghost Trick in one setting. That was another one I really liked.
Was
but I can talk.
Like a normal human one sitting though, or did you like game for 12 days and not move?
Sexy Brutale was a normal person one sitting.
Okay.
Ghost Trick, I think, was I'm a weird person who really digs this game.
Okay. At least you know the difference.
I know what I'm about.
It's half the battle.
But I could talk about old games all day. So I'll stop now.
That could be a podcast for another day or stream, whatever we're doing here.
There we go.
Whatever
We
this
could
is.
work out things. I've been meaning to finally play Chrono Cross, so I might stream that.
That's a solid one.
You could stream that here, yeah.
Hey.
So I this week I reviewed. Hold on, let me grab it. I reviewed the new D&D. Well, the rules expansion gift set.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it here by Chroma Camp's probably going to blur part of it out.
It's
It's weird.
But yeah, I've got the blur background thing on, so it's automatically AI dissecting the wrong things. But yeah, so this is a repackaging of 2 old rule books and 1 new one. If you play D&D and you do not own Tasha's Cauldron of Everything or Xanathar's Guide to Everything for the new edition, highly recommend this. Cannot recommend it enough. These are things you need to have at your gaming table as far as I'm concerned. I've been loving them for years. The new book is Monsters of the
Kind
Multiverse.
of got it.
It's there.
Let me turn my blur off my camera.
to pay attention because he's really wanting to get into D&D. So.
But yeah, so my Chroma Camp's butchering it, but there's a very nice foil finish on them.
Oh, I can see it perfectly right now.
Oh, there we go.
Right there.
Very nice foil finish on it. It's very subtle. It's not like it's a garish like a Pokemon card in foil. But yeah, this is very straightforward, bare bones kind of book, but it is a lot of stuff that would be really good for DMs. Like they've reprinted some monsters that show up in other adventures and stuff. So it makes it really handy to have them at the table in an easier form to carry around. And buying it in this box set is a better way than just buying an expensive, boring book on its own. So yeah, highly recommend that if you play D&D and don't already have these books, or if you have them and it doesn't hurt to have more copies of these ones around because they are really essential. So
Awesome.
Gave this one a 9.5 on the site. So that's where I've been at this week. some other stuff I can't talk about yet. But
Secrets. Wait, what are you doing that's a secret?
well,
Okay.
stuff's in progress, so technically
okay.
we save
Oh,
that stuff for
Well,
when it comes
mine's in
out, right?
progress.
So
I didn't do that. I needed to talk today. I'm upset about my massage chair. I needed to talk about it.
that's fair. It's legit.
Oh, yeah. What have you been up to?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I got to review the new Kristen Bell TV series.
Give you $1 if you can tell me the name of it.
The woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window.
He's reading that.
I am indeed. It was an interesting series. I did like how it plays the ludicrousness of the scenario straight. And it feels, for the most part, like it's just basically the Rear Window type of scenario where a woman is kind of divorced. She's lost her child, and she's just kind of like living on wine and drugs every single day, looking out the window into a
As you
little
do.
cul-de-sac. Very like Rear Window-esque. And like it's a little absurd early on, but it isn't until you get later in the series where you're like, no, this is real dumb. Like they're playing it straight, but this is real dumb.
But like good dumb or bad dumb?
It's like if Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like, so there are like serious moments, like most of it's serious, but they're saying really stupid stuff and just letting it slide. They're like, yeah, this is the thing. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes
That's
sense.
fine.
There's like no laugh track, no one like burst, like there's no overt jokes. It's just kind of a slightly skewed satire on the thriller genre that everyone knows and loves.
That seems like a very like niche audience. I feel like everyone on the planet is going to watch it, so it's going to be top on Netflix. But then half the people are going to be very much like Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Like half the people are going to be like, "What was that?"
Yeah.
And the other half are going to be obsessed.
Like as you go to the ending, it's just like
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil
Okay.
anything. So the last episode,
I want to love it.
the last episode is off the walls. And you're like, oh, sure, that's where they're going. Cool.
I'm just like, this is fine. How many times have I said that today?
But yeah, it is really interesting. But if it anyone else in the title role other than Kristen Bell, because she does that deadpan kind of sarcastic way about her that she's really good at. If anyone else was in the role, they'd either play it too silly or too straight, and you need that kind of sarcasm to make it all work.
She's good for that.
Yeah, that's her character.
Yeah.
If it was just like a general woman that you don't know that's her character, you just think that they're just being kind of a dick the entire time. It wouldn't really work. So I think for this show, it really worked, but it definitely is an acquired taste that if you don't like kind of satire, you don't like dry comedy, it might not work for you.
Oh, that's my jam.
It sounds like something very ridiculous done in a very serious way, like
Yeah.
a Discworld book.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. So like they're saying stupid things, but everyone in the universe is like, yeah, that makes sense. Totally. Yeah, cool.
Down with that.
No, like was this like written for Kristen Bell specifically, or was
I
this,
think she's a producer, an executive producer in the show, so she's definitely had a part in it.
Yeah.
okay? So it's like it could have accidentally gone to the wrong person or something. It just
No,
totally
I
fell
feel that
apart.
she definitely helped make this thing in reality.
It's fair.
But it's also interesting because you have like major comedians in roles throughout the show. Like every single episode, there's a new guest person playing a different character.
Sorry, distracted.
But they play everything straight. So you'll have like major comedians just like as a bit part, just to have like 3 lines. Like, was that? Oh, yeah, okay. He just was.
What is
being
that
himself.
new Netflix show coming out? I've got to go.
Oh,
find
the
it.
murder one.
Yeah.
With Will
Yeah.
Arnett?
That's I couldn't find his friggin' name. The one with Will Arnett that's coming out. It's it's supposed to be like a serious mystery or whatever. But there's a different special guest who is a celebrity every week, and they're not given a script.
Oh.
Yeah. So like I think if my understanding is correct, is that everybody else has a script except this one actor.
Mhm.
So that's interesting to me, and I'm excited for it. So
But yeah, I think if you like that sort of concept, or you just really like that kind of true crime loving thriller, it'll probably be fun for you, but you might not understand the jokes. You're like, why is it getting really stupid now? I guess that's the thing that it's doing. It got stupid. You won't get the fact it's purposely trying to be stupid. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people like, yeah, the end was dumb. Like, it made no sense. And you're like, yep.
unless you listen to us,
Yeah.
Brendan lets you know what's up.
There you go. Yeah, I actually just saw that the image for that on Netflix like the other day, and I thought, is this them doing like a parody of like serious stuff? Like, but
It's
a dash
not
of the
full
good
parody.
place?
It's very satire. It's
Hmm.
like it isn't. There's no like laugh out loud moments. It's very dry.
Well,
Interesting choice.
It comes out like tomorrow, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yes. Yeah.
Now I know what I'm doing with my wild bread in it.
Sounds wild.
Get some wine and drugs apparently and stare out my window. I'll put
Or-
TV outside so I can feel like I'm in the story.
Well,
I was gonna say.
I'm just going to give you an example of why it's weird. So, in every one of these thrillers, you have the wife phoning the husband or the ex-husband. They're like, "Was I a bad husband?" Like, no, like it's not your fault. You weren't the problem of everything. And you're like, oh, like that trope that everyone knows. Everyone knows that trope. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But in this situation, he's in a meeting with he's a therapist, I mean, a very light spoiler. He's in a therapy session with someone for the criminally insane, just sitting across from him as he's having this phone call, and the person across from him just giving him weird looks the entire time.
God, this sounds like a bad play that I wrote in high school, where I thought everything we wrote was hilarious, and the class is like.
I'm gonna give you one other spoiler that's like first episode spoiler.
Mhm.
So the big thing for Kristen Bell is the fact that her daughter died, and you're like, oh, what happened? And you're like, what really went on? And then you find out it was take your kid to work day. And you're like, okay, sure, what happened there? And then you see the dad or the husband walking down a prison with this little girl, and the thing is, he left her alone because the door locked on him as he was interviewing one of his patients, and then he was a cannibal.
Well,
And that's how. And I'm like,
spoiler.
that's really dumb.
That was a spoiler.
I mean, it's like first episode spoiler.
I don't care. Now I'm not going to be as pulled into the story on the first episode. I'm going to be like, this show sucks.
But I mean, then she and Kristen Bell's so distraught because she reminded her husband that it was take your daughter to work day.
Because that's the problem in this situation. It's fine.
So that's just that's the kind of the level of humor we're getting here.
Kind of reminds me of when they revealed how all the characters died on The Good Place, like originally.
Yeah.
But-
Definitely has a good place kind of vibe.
It very much kind of a good level of humor, but a little less ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
It doesn't sound less ridiculous.
But The Good Place, there's straight up jokes. This one is more of just.
Those are haha funny jokes. These are jokes.
You're like, oh,
yeah, those
weird.
Kids and cannibalism. Man, I'm going to have a great Friday night.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of Brooklyn Nine-Nine for a second. I was going to say Good Place had a cannibal too, but that was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There was a cannibal that kept going back to.
Very slowly been watching on Netflix. Like, very slowly.
It's good.
Speaking of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, actually, it was kind of weird watching Encanto last weekend with my daughter and hearing Rosa have actual range.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of her TikToks, and she's like singing along with all the songs. I'm like, what's happening? I didn't register that she was the character. Yeah, she's the main character in it.
And very polar opposite. Yeah.
I did not catch that.
Well, because the character of Rosa, she has a completely different voice than her natural voice.
Yeah, she's very down here. I'm a big tough chick.
Yeah,
I remember there was a musical. No, there was an episode where she sings karaoke, and I remember oh, she's a theater kid. She's got range.
Yeah, she was also she was on In the Heights as well.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, was she? Yeah.
The first time I ever saw her outside of Brooklyn Nine-Nine was on some talk show or whatever, and she came out in a big flowery dress. I'm like, what is that? That's not leather. I do not accept.
Well, it's funny because I'd never seen Stephanie Beatrice in anything else, not even interviews or anything else ever before. So yeah, then Mirabelle in that movie is very peppy and very different. So I mean, it's just kind of one of those moments. That was a pretty solid movie as well. I also watched that in the last week.
Me too.
Double dipping on the What You're Playing, but
and now my son is asking me every day, "Hey, can we watch that show?" He can't say Encanto though, so it's pretty great.
It's a show or movie?
It's a movie.
Okay. Movie, yeah.
On Disney Plus, and I just pretend not to know what he's talking about. I don't know what that is, bud.
I'm very glad that I'm not the only one who gets that question every day. So.
Yes, we are in the same boat. in the same
Like, I don't have kids, so I have to make my own excuses for wanting to watch it again.
There you go.
Good animation.
I cried
she's
my
tall,
eyes
too.
out during that movie. Like I ugly cried. My son gets in my face. Mom, are you happy or are you sad? I'm like, these are happy tears. It's fine. So no, I'm not watching it anymore. Unless I need a good cry, apparently.
Well, there you go.
You
Yeah,
watch
actually,
Shawshank. No, it's Encanto.
I had to go out and run. Well, I had to run out and find the actual CD copy of the soundtrack because my daughter wanted to listen to it in the car and was lamenting the fact that I didn't have it in the car.
You don't
My
have
car
Bluetooth?
only has a CD player and no good Bluetooth speaker. So
I'm sorry, you did find it though?
I did find it. Yes, Sunrise Records still exists.
Oh
so
yeah, that's
fair.
true.
I had a weird moment of where I was going to order on Amazon. I was like, wait a minute, stores still exist. Wait a minute, Sunrise Records still exists.
I think Sunrise the record store that's originally from where you're from, or is it from somewhere else?
I don't know where it's from actually.
Is that Dr. Disc?
Did anybody else have Sam the Record Man growing up?
We had
We-
Sam.
we all- yeah.
That's what we had. So.
Lane's kind of missing out on
He's
the
like,
regional.
no idea.
Oh yeah,
No.
wrong country. Sorry, Lane.
Nope.
Did you have H&M down there?
Yeah, we had H&M and FYE and all that stuff.
Okay.
But
Or
HMV.
HMV.
H&M's
no,
H&M's the clothing
HMV. So I have HMV.
Oh, HMV.
no, we don't have an HMV.
Well, they're gone now, but yeah.
They once upon a time. Yeah, I think it went like Sam the Record Man. Then there was a Sunrise. Then there was HMV, and then we're back to Sunrise. I guess.
Yeah, because HMV took over for a while. Sunrise was kind of gone, and I think they went bankrupt
Well,
for
they,
a while. if I
well, they
remember
just kind of
correctly.
went really, they went real small. Like there's only like a few
Yeah.
of them. And
Yeah,
then
'cause
they
we,
kind of,
we used to have both in one mall here, and then one was gone, and then HMV closed,
And
and Sunrise
then-
came back.
I buy
H-
Fortnite toys and T-shirts at Sunrise.
yeah.
That is.
Yeah, Sunrise has a lot of weird, like it looks kind of like a GameStop almost.
I've almost bought you socks there.
That's fair.
That's a weird story. Sorry, that has almost happened.
That's
Though.
awesome. Yeah, no, so that was kind of weird looking for an actual physical CD in the year 2022. But
That's a weird thing to do.
Did your kids
Yeah.
know what it was? Like, do you have CDs at home?
I do. I still have a ton of CDs, and nothing to really play them on. That's
That's
plugged
fair.
in anymore.
Chris
but,
is just sitting in his car alone at night. reminiscing.
Well,
We
actually-
don't talk about Bruno.
we don't talk about physical media.
yeah.
No, like I in the car, I listen to podcasts on my iPhone. I just blast
Yeah.
my iPhone and,
Mhm.
and, like listen to because when it's just me, I don't care. Like I don't
Yeah.
need
Yeah. It's
stereo.
not quite
audio
at
for that.
singing level.
No, yeah. Listening to comedy podcasts while I'm driving is not
Mhm.
does not require me to talk along with them. But
I want
yeah,
you to
no, so
talk
that was.
back.
Well, I mean, I do respond, but no one ever
Mhm.
let's talk about my opinions on those.
I'm so with you, Chris. I'm sorry. Lee is just judging us all.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
No, never.
fair.
You don't want to know what weird crap I listen to in my car.
I mean, now I do.
No, we do.
I
I, think we
mean-
have to know.
Song of Achilles recently, so I'm very sad in my car.
That's
But,
good.
Oh, well, there you go. I walk into Brendan's office, it's just like a monotone voice talking about murder. I'm like, well, that's good. Going to HR.
That is half the podcast these days.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
there you go. There you go.
All right. Does anyone else have anything else they wanted to bring up? Or
I think that's everything, isn't it?
yeah,
Unless you want to talk about that Crusader game.
Yeah, I can talk about Crusader Kings just quickly. So Crusader Kings is coming to consoles, but only Xbox Series X, S, and PS5.
Why?
I don't know.
'Cause it
Like, I
makes lots
really
of
don't
money.
know.
That's like when Stellaris came to console. It was like, why?
But more importantly, why does it need the next gen power to power Crusader Kings?
Right.
It's
So
basically
wait, it's not you can't play it on PlayStation
No,
4? Or,
I don't
that
believe so.
literally makes no sense. I did not know that. I'm lost now.
so
That's good.
Crusader Kings is one of those games that have like 30,000 menus, and you have to figure out where to go for everything. And I played it on a console. Then I'm like, yeah, this is complex. Look at all these menus you have to navigate with your controller. Then I went and tried it again on the PC. And I'm like, oh right, it's more complex on the PC. So they have done a really good job of streamlining everything. They've made it so the things you use most are at the ready on your controller, and the more esoteric the things you're doing, like ransoming off a prisoner you've had for a while, is a bit harder to do. But just like marrying off your son, real easy. It's a very weird game, but they've managed to make it so even with convert everyone. So even with like the ridiculous nature of the game and how complex managing your little empire is, they've translated it very well to make it so it's something you can do in your controller. It doesn't feel like you're going radio menu to another radio menu to a third radio menu over here, but they've mapped it all to the controller really smartly. Do I think it makes the game easy? No, this is still a deep strategy game that you're going to need to really want to get into the weeds about how you're going to rule your kingdom and how you're going to wage war, who you're going to marry. It's still that weird, deep experience that you have to be a certain type of person to play. But
that sounded like a judgment.
But if you don't want to spend like 30 hours in your PC chair, unless it's the PC chair Dayna's testing.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see tomorrow. I'll let you know.
Unless you're that sort of person, this is the great way to kind of get into the game, play it, and actually enjoy it, and let your turns go by and just like, oh yeah, now I'm going to marry this guy. Now I'm going to assassinate the Pope. Now I'm going to elect a new Pope. Now we're going to switch to paganism. We're going to go over to paganism now. Now we're going to go.
That was all you, okay?
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of this game and I did not realize how complicated it was. And he was like, why won't these people convert to paganism? I'm like, maybe not your audience. I don't know.
I know that the best part of my honeymoon was when we worked with the Pope. That was a really good use of my honeymoon. Yeah.
Someone did it.
And then there's like, I had a thing like, you have to make the Pope doesn't like you. It's like, let's kill the Pope then. So I went on a weird backstabbing situation, and then I blackmailed him by saying, like marrying someone else to his cousin. Like I did a weird thing.
Is this coming to Game Pass? Because I feel like I may get lost in a very deep dark hole while I binge the other weird show. It's gonna be a weird Friday night.
But there was also the thing where like, this is the game that people have been like modding for years. Like they've made Game of Thrones expansion or Game of Thrones mods to the second game. There was someone that found a way to marry his horse to his daughter, and then their horse kids had children. It got
horse
weird.
Kids, they're horse kids. That was a sentence that was just said.
Because the horse married someone else, and then they had a kid. So it transferred the genes of the horse came to the next level down.
And that's where we're going to call it tonight, folks. Horse kids.
Love is love.
Yeah,
horse kids up here in Canada.
But yeah, I do like what they've done. I think Paradox is a really smart way of translating this to console, but you really have to enjoy a deep, in the weed strategy game, even though it's on console.
Or get a Steam Deck.
Can we turn it into some sort of drinking game?
I mean,
you absolutely could find it.
Literally,
Drinking game.
How many times a vassal wants to be part of your court, or how many times the Pope was really upset by you converting his
I just found a new way to bring video games into my relationships. Drinking games. That's
there you
what
go.
we'll be doing.
So is this more? So like I was thinking when you're talking of Civilization Revolution back on the 360, I think it was.
I mean, I think Civilization Revolution's dumbed down some aspects. So it didn't dumb them down, but it simplified the concepts of the game. This one doesn't. This one, all the weird like nuances, all the weird tech trees, all the different options you have in the experience are still there. It's just a control scheme that makes sense on the controller. So it's still everything the PC version has is in this game, other than the expansions, which they're planning to bring them later. But it's all still in that game. So you still have all the nonsense the game's known for.
Yeah, that sounds pretty novel actually, because I came to Civilization first through Revolution, and thought it was fun and everything like that. And then I tried that the full game on PC, and then I could not go back to Revolution. So that was very much like a training wheel situation.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like that. There's no. It does not feel like it's like holding your hand.
I need
at
that.
All. Yeah.
Especially if it's going to be a drinking game.
That's
but if anyone that is jumping into it, the tutorial is really useful just because it shows you exactly where everything is. And if you're coming from the PC, you're like, well, where's that menu? And how do we get to this thing? The tutorial does kind of point you in the right direction where everything is. So I think that is useful for people.
Good.
When you were saying that it takes a certain kind of person to enjoy these kinds of games, I almost got offended for a second, and then I looked at a script that I'm writing on my computer here titled "Do I Like Boring Games?" and I decided to shut up.
I look forward to reading that.
So there you go. It's made for you.
Sounds like a dash of Spore and Sims in there too, with all that
Oh god.
weird genetic stuff you're talking
Spore.
about. But
Horse kids.
yes, Horse Kids. I
my
think
quote
that's
of
going
the
to do
year.
it for us this week. If you'd like to read more on most of these topics, not
Not the horse kids.
not the
I
Horse
mean,
Kids,
Well,
maybe.
we'll do a few.
maybe
In
soon.
fact, in editing Brendan's review later. Horse kids.
Anyways, you can read more about these topics on cgmagonline.com. Be sure to follow CG Magazine on all the socials. Just search for CG Mag. You'll find us. And if you have any questions or comments, please send them to podcast@cgmagonline.com, and we'll check them out on the air. Lane, thanks for joining us again. Nice to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you?
Well, I'm Lane Martin. You can find me on Twitter at FritzVault. That is FritzValt. I don't post a lot on there, but if you tag me, I'll see it and might post on there.
Who knows?
I tagged you.
Maybe. I
God.
saw.
And
You can
didn't
talk about
post.
Sexy Brutal with Lane.
Yes.
That's right. We can talk about all sorts of things. We can talk
We're gonna
about
auction
old
that off
games.
for charity. Talk about Sexy Brutal with Lane.
Sure. Look, there's weirder games. Look, I am working on that top 10 we were talking about, and there's weirder games we can talk about.
I'm so excited. Like, so excited for that. You have no idea. You'll see.
Dayna, where can people find your reactions to that review when it goes up?
Oh, everywhere. On most socials, I am at the Dayna Eileen, DaynaEileen. On Twitch, actually, I'm just Dayna Eileen, though. That's me.
And Brendan.
BFry26 on everything. Well, I mean, Instagram, Twitter.
Wow, that shut down real quick.
Twitch. I think I'm on Twitch too.
He is on Twitch.
I think on TikTok as well, but I don't have anything there. But you know, you can follow
It
me.
exists. You can stare at my blank screen. It's fine.
No dancing memes from you there on TikTok, but
After that drinking game, maybe.
maybe. And you can find me on Twitter at Hoogathy. That's HOOGATHY, or here on Twitch at Guild2Taps. I think that's gonna do it for us. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next week.
Bye.